Hello, people of the internet.
Welcome to episode 2 of
Knitorious.
Knitorious. This is our second episode in a knitting podcast adventure, and we want to say thank you to everyone that has subscribed.
Thank you so much. We are blown away, you guys. Like, oh my gosh.
We
Speechless.
definitely have to thank Jody and Tracy from
Jody
the
and
Grocery
Tracy.
Girls.
Tracy?
Tracy, I think it's Tracy.
We love you. Thank you, ladies.
Our episode aired like Sunday at 2 o'clock is when my computer finished uploading it, and Kari tagged our podcast in something on Instagram.
We earburned them.
So Kari did that, and then the next thing we know, Kari's texting me, and she's like, I got a Ravelry message. I think it's from Jody, and they did something wrong, but I think they're going to talk about us. And I didn't believe it.
We were floored. I FaceTimed Kellie, and I screamed in her face, and she was like, what? She didn't even have words.
I didn't have words.
We are so beyond words. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was expecting, like, you know, a little blip at the end.
Yes!
And
oh my gosh!
I mean, they
so
didn't...
kind. You ladies.
I told Tracy, you can call us whatever you want. You can say we're from Portland or the moon.
Knit Vicious?
Knit
we'll
Vicious,
take it.
Knitorious,
you know, whatever you want to call
Portland.
us.
We were just so excited. So, thank you to Tracy and Jody and
of
to
the
some other
Grocery
podcasts.
Girls. Thank you everyone who subscribed and gave us nice comments.
It
Melts my heart.
It's
Makes
awesome.
me feel good.
It's awesome. So yeah, thanks.
We
and if you're
appreciate
just tuning in for the first time, make sure you hit subscribe. It's a red box. Everybody...
If you don't know, if you've never heard of YouTube.
It's a red box that says the word subscribe, so I had to tell my mom that. So yeah, if this is the first time you're tuning in, hit subscribe so that you can see a little bit more of what we have. How about some social media information?
Social media. So on Ravelry, I am thatknitlife. And on Instagram, I am Kari Knits. I also just got an LO. Haven't posted a darn thing on it, but I wanted to make sure no one stole my name. So it's Kari Knits on LO. Just in case, you know, it's been a little funky with the Instagram these days, so you never know.
What's going on.
But for you,
I am Dog Hair Knits on Ravelry and on Instagram, and I too got an LO because it seemed like the thing to do. Everyone else was doing it, so I mean, I'm on there. I don't think I've posted anything. I haven't followed anyone except for the people that they force you to follow. So that's where we are if you're looking for us.
Yeah.
And we also have a Ravelry group, which is the Knitorious podcast. So you can search us, and we've had a ton of people reaching out in the introductions, which have been awesome to read. We did also have a question in the I Wonder thread, which is where we ask people to post questions that they have for us. And one of those questions was from Tanya Marie. Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
Thanks for asking away. Her question was, how did you guys get to know each other? Because it must be really cool to have someone that lives so close to you that's into yarny things. And it is cool.
We definitely enable each other.
Yeah.
She makes me buy yarn, and she tells me about all the podcasts.
And she makes me consider knitting bunnies. Consider knitting them.
Yeah.
I have to put these down. These are coming soon.
Why are they in your
Stay
hand?
tuned.
Okay, so anyway, we both actually went to the same college. Did we graduate the same year? And
Same exact year. We started the same time. We had mutual friends. We just realized this weekend we lived in the same exact dorms at the same time.
For 2 years.
2 years straight.
Same dorms.
Didn't
Never
know
knew each other.
One of our best friends, mutually, we both knew Brittany. We didn't know each other.
Yeah. So it's a little bit odd that way, but we both went to school for teaching. I don't know if we said that last time, maybe.
We probably had to cut it out from all the camera errors.
Yeah, but then I remember I started working at a school. I think I was subbing first, and then I got a job as a computer lab helper aide. And I saw her in the hallway, and I was like, hey, I think I recognize you. And we were just kind of like, oh, hey, you look familiar, and then we became friends.
To Tanya, thanks for the question again, and that's basically how we met. We also had some mutual teaching friends, but now our relationship basically revolves around knitting and yarn and the wonderful world that is knitting podcasts and all the yarny goodness. Now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. I just came up with that just now.
Wow.
Thank you.
Pretty impressive.
You finished something.
I did. I finished 2 somethings, guys.
2 somethings. So
Look at it! It's my woven shawl, as you probably remember, and it's coming off. But yeah, it's woven by Casapinka, and I showed it to you last time. And I worked on it so hard to finish it for you. Oh. So this really does make you knit more. So that's my one. And my other one, I finished my rollers!
I haven't seen these yet. They're so sparkly! Can I touch them?
I steam blocked it before I came over here. And if you want to see up close, you can see the sparkly goodness. So pretty. They fit great, and I love them.
And these you knit out of Neely's Knits
Neely's Knits.
in the zebra stripes and polka dots?
I did. I used my Carbons size 1 double pointed needles, which I am in love with. So yeah, it was a really fun process.
Nice.
What do you have finished?
The only finished object I have, we have to learn how to insert a picture.
Okay.
Insert picture here. I made a bunny nugget for my nephew for Easter. I was so excited. I actually started it Easter morning. I knit it up over breakfast, finished it, put a little face on him. I learned the duplicate stitch. So easy. Learned the duplicate stitch to put a little face on him. Took him over to my nephew who is 2. He looked, he said, "Oh, bunny!" And he threw it across the living room.
That's love, my friends.
I was like, "You are not knit-worthy, young child. You get
He doesn't
nothing."
deserve that nice yarn.
No. Thankfully, I knitted on like crunchy acrylic that I found in my stash.
I thought you used Jamie's yarn.
No. I knitted on crunchy acrylic because I knew that he was either going to stick it in his mouth, cover it in chocolate, or, like he did, throw it across the living room.
Okay.
So that was my only finished object.
Okay, you have some hoes.
I have a hoe.
Or one hoe.
This is a saga.
Saga.
This is a tale of woe. It's the woe hoe. Hashtag woe hoe. I'm a fan of the hashtag. So this is my hoe. I'm going to hold it up close so you can see the pretty stitch pattern. So this is a Hermione's Everyday sock in the Alpaca Yarn Company. Paca Peds HT. And if you watched last time, you know HT stands for heels and toes because it comes with the foot color and the heels and toes color all rolled up into one hank, and it was so cute. And I love the color, and I showed my mom, and she loves it. She said that she would just wear this one until the next one is finished.
Oh my gosh.
She was just like,
Dedication.
pleased as a peach. So here, this is the hoe. Here comes the woe. The woe. Last week I talked about my Caspian needles. And if you follow me on Instagram at Dog Hair Knits, you're aware of this coming story. So I was working on the Caspian needles from Knit Picks, and they were sticky, and I didn't like them, and the cable was weird. But then I texted Kari, and I was like, you know, I think that my needles just needed worn in, because it was going faster, and then this happened!
They snapped.
They snapped right in half!
Hulk hands.
Hulk hands! That's not even nice.
I mean,
so I was knitting along, and I'm so excited because I'm like, yay, I'm gonna have this done. And then it went, and I froze. It's one of those things where, like, if I stay still long enough, maybe it didn't happen. I'll just open my hand, and it would have been like a knuckle crack or something. No, it was a needle crack. They
really
snapped like a twig.
like a twig.
The struggle is real when you're, like, basically a giant. I'm 5'11", I have big hands, T-Rex arms.
Let's compare.
So T-Rex arms, Hulk hands, snapping needles.
That's real life, guys. You can't make this up.
You can't. So now I am working. Look how far I've made it on my second sock. I don't even have
What kind
a
of
sock
needles are those?
mustache Do you watch the Pin Feathers and Pearls?
I have seen her a little bit.
She had a sock mustache. I don't even have a sock mustache. I have a lonely, empty needle because I have not cast on the second sock, but I will not get second sock syndrome. These are Chiagu's bamboo. Guess what? They're splitting already. Little splinters right on the end.
Oh no.
So at this
point, no more wood needles for you.
At this point, I think it might just be me.
Steel, it needs to happen for you.
So that is my hoe and my woe.
Whips?
Whips.
Should we do whips?
We should do whips.
So, I have a whip. I have just one whip. So last time I showed you my sweater, I haven't done anything on that, so I don't need to show you that again. But I have a new whip in my cute little bag that I can show you closer up. With the
sheepies.
With the little sheepies. So I have started something new. Should we talk about our new segment too? Teach yourself?
Oh yeah, I guess this is a good time.
Yeah.
So Kari and I were on a yarn venture, which will be another new segment coming to you this episode. And we were brainstorming in the car names for the different parts of our podcast. And Kristen from Yarngasm always says, treat yourself, to justify her wool piggery. And because we're both teachers and we're semi-newish to the knitting world, we said, what about teach yourself?
Teach yourself, because, you know, it's always good to learn new knitting techniques. And I think that having a segment will make us keep improving ourselves. So we're going to try to, I don't know, what do we say, every 2 weeks, once a month?
Yeah.
Pick a technique and do it.
And teach yourself.
In our projects. So that we can, you know, learn
something
things.
new.
So anyways,
what did you teach
all that
yourself?
To say, this, for my teach yourself, I really wanted to do the Fish Lips Kiss heel, because so many people have been doing them, and I was like, it looks so cool, and everyone's saying it's easier, so I really wanted to try it. So
this is another woe.
There's a big story behind this also.
So this is like a series of Snapchats gone wrong.
I started this not that long ago.
So pretty though.
When did I start
You
this?
started them yesterday. No, you started them Sunday. You restarted them yesterday.
I started them Sunday. So this is the Flying North pattern. It's free on Ravelry, and it's so super simple. I wanted to do a simple sock first to try the Fish Lips Kiss. And this is basically a simple sock, except you throw in some pearls to make that flying V pattern. I am doing so many new techniques, let me tell you. I started these toe up, which I think the first socks I ever did, I'm pretty sure I did them toe up, but it was like 2 years ago, so I completely forgot. And I think I did them on magic loop, but I usually always knit my socks on double points. And I was like, magic loop, meh. But now I'm trying magic loop, and I kind of love it.
Isn't it? It's so much. Everyone says that it's finicky because you pull in the loop through, but I really think it's faster.
I don't know if it's faster or what.
17 thumbs.
But I do want to tell you about these needles also, because Grocery Girls,
is blue.
You said about these, and I got them, and I am in love with them.
What are they?
Addy Turbo Sock Rockets, size 1, 40-inch cable.
Oh no, that wasn't a high five, that was a question. I have a question. Some other people are saying that they're having problems with the turbos.
Why?
Because they've been chipping. Like Candace from the Pin Feathers and Pearls said that her nickel plating is coming off and that she doesn't like them. She's tried the 3 pairs and she said, I'm not going back.
No, I'm in love. In love. So,
good for yourself.
Granted, these are the first ones I'm doing, but I love them. So the toe up was so super easy. I used a method called the Turkish cast on, and here's my little Fish Lips Kiss.
But you actually made the cardboard foot. Everybody else says skip the first, 6 to 10 pages of the pattern because it's just how to make a cardboard foot. You made the cardboard foot.
I've seen a couple other people make the cardboard foot.
Okay.
So I'm not the only one.
I'm not making a cardboard foot. I wear a size 12 shoe. I would need like a piece of poster board.
It's a good idea though, because then you know where to do the heel.
Because you can't try them on. when you do it toe up?
No, you can. It's just, I don't know. I like it. So, Fish Lips Kiss, toe up, and magic loop. So many new things.
Hashtag teach yourself. Good job.
Oh, and then here's my woe part of this. So, I started this on Sunday. I knit pretty much all day long. I got to like that much. Tried it on for the first time. I think I was just so excited to get to the heel and do it that I was like, and I didn't try it on at all. Face?
Knitting is relaxing, people.
So I followed the pattern. She has one size, 62 stitches. I did the 62 stitches. Tried it on. It was swimming. I could pull an inch of fabric to the side, which, if anyone can understand this, please explain it to me, because my rollers were 64 stitches. This is basically the same yarn. 62 stitches was too big, and my rollers fit. Guess how many stitches I ended up casting on?
Well, you were saying like 48, which to me is completely unreasonable. 48 is a baby's foot.
54, which is kind of funny because I was just watching the Fawn Knits, Laura the Fawn Knits, and she was like, yeah, I knit this sock for my nephew. I think it was her.
He's like 3.
And she was like, it's 50 stitches. It might have been Kristen of Yarngasm, I'm not sure. I'm like, oh, that's how much I did. So, for my weird skinny little feet. Has anyone else had that problem? Leave a comment below and tell me if you know the issue.
I am a 72 all the way. I have 9.5 circumference on my foot. The lady at our local knit shop measured my foot for me, which was a super awkward experience with a stranger. But she measured it, and she's like, your feet are big. So that's where the yarn budget. I can just blame it on having big feet when I have to buy a lot of yarn.
Cool.
Do you have any other whips?
Nope. Just my sweater, which I didn't work on, so.
I have another whip. This is in my Beautiful Mess Yarnworks project bag. I have to stop and say, I had the pleasure of meeting Jamie from Beautiful Mess Yarnworks. She has a shop on Etsy. She is a hand dyer, and she makes these adorable project bags. We met up at a brewery, and we did some brewery knitting. She's awesome. She's so funny, and she's so talented, and she let me pick her brain about all sorts of knitting things, and we talked about our husbands, who both have surprise beards. My husband's hair is black, and his beard is bright red, so she called it a surprise beard, which I thought was the coolest. Okay. Hey, Jamie. I hope you watch this one.
Hi, Jamie.
She's just so much fun. I had the best time with her, and we knit, and then... so this is my story. I actually knit on my Hermione's Everyday socks while we were there. Knit the whole toe, got home, realized I had done the whole toe wrong. Because I was just so wrapped up in our conversation. So I taught myself, I can't knit and talk. Haven't gotten to that step. I can knit and read a book, but I cannot knit and have a conversation. Well, at least not when you're decreasing the toe. So this is my new cast on. This is my Easter cast on.
Cute.
So cute. There's a story about this too. So this yarn is Patton's Croy, which right now is like kind of my go-to sock yarn because I have a bunch in stash. And I think this is the Sweet Stripes colorway, but I'm calling these my Jelly Bean socks. It is just a vanilla sock pattern. Like I said, if this looks huge, it's because it is huge, because I got big feet.
Did you try them on?
I did. I keep trying them on because I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's no way in the world.
It looks pretty wide.
It's so offensive. Yes, I tried them on. Yes, they fit. Yes, I have big feet and wide calves if you want to step to it.
Do you think Magic Loop makes things bigger?
I don't think so. I think it's just my legs make things bigger. So this is my stripey socks. I'm going to try to have these done for the Pin Feathers and Pearls stripey socks.
Do you think this is seasonal? Because I haven't seen that yarn in a while.
I bought this in December.
Oh.
With a Christmas gift card at Michael's. So no, I don't think it's seasonal. I think it's just everyone bought it and is making their Jelly Bean socks. That's one of my works in progress. My other whip is my campsite shawl, which I showed last week. And the Progress Keeper is where I was last week.
You've gotten a lot done.
You know, I'm getting there. I just love this pattern so much. And now I'm seeing everyone's finishing their campsite sweaters. And I'm trying to, like, figure out a way that I can just turn this into a sweater. But I just love the eyelets.
Good luck.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think so.
So I've just been knitting away on that. That's my TV knitting. Chris has me really into Daredevil right now.
No.
It's graphic.
I wouldn't like it.
He left me watch it the other day while he fell asleep. I had to turn it off because I was afraid, because it was really graphic and scary. But it's a fun, just, you know, TV knit. Yeah. And then I'm working on the second sock for my mom's Hermione's Everyday Socks. So there's our work.
Sweet. Yarn Venture.
Yarn Venture!
So you may have seen on Instagram that we went to the yarn shop at Old Sledworks.
Okay, we're going to pause because we're going to try to input some of the video we took from this unique and interesting yarn venture, to say the least.
So stay tuned, and we'll see you soon.
So that was a little clip of our adventure at the yarn shop at Old Sledworks. Old Sledworks is an antique mall. If you're not familiar with the wonderment of an antique mall, basically what happens is vendors are able to buy a space in this large building, and this one was literally a barn. No heating.
It was freezing
cold.
in there.
It was cold.
And it was a warm day.
It was a warm day outside. Inside,
freezing.
It was frigid. I was just hoping we could get to the yarn and that maybe I could, like, throw together a sweater in time to get out of the building because it was cold.
Really cold.
Really cold. So we drive from where we live in Elizabethtown to Duncannon, which was about 45 minutes away, on some major highways, which is we have a lot of tractor trailer traffic near us because we live pretty close to some bigger cities. So we did make it there, and I drive typically when we go on these yarn ventures, and then Kari narrates the situation. So we made it all the way to Duncannon. We go into this antique mall, and anything you could think of from the past, I don't know, since dinosaurs roamed the planet, is
was
stuffed
there.
in this mall.
It was so neat to look around and see. Like, there were things from my childhood, from the 90s, but then there were things way before then, and so many
It is like
shops.
tchotchke heaven.
Like, overwhelming. If you love antiques and
Bits
you're
and
from
bobs.
Lancaster, you need to check it out.
Yeah, the old Sled Works building is where the yarn shop was located. So Kari and I kind of meander through, and nothing is labeled, and I really was expecting like a standalone store when we got there.
Mm-hmm.
It, as you hopefully saw from the video, was basically an IKEA bookshelf.
It was very big. It had little areas, different areas, with different antiques in it.
Yes.
So the yarn was in its like own little, small little area.
Yeah. I think what was happening is somebody had purchased a lot of this yarn on their own, and it was most likely their stash, and they were just looking to de-stash some of it. But it was an awesome, awesome sale.
It was 50% off and an extra 20%.
Yeah.
If you showed this ad from the
Craigslist.
internet. So 70% off.
Which
how can you not
you have
go?
to.
You have to go.
You have to go. And my other friend, who's also named Kari, who is a new knitter, was going to come along, and she's like, hey, is it worth it? And part of me was like, I don't really know, because there isn't a huge selection. There's a lot of art yarn.
We thought maybe it would be a bust, but
there was one little cubby of...
That was the jackpot.
That was the jackpot
We
cubby.
were like, oh!
So we were
Picking
pulling
all
it
of
out,
it.
we were laying it out on the floor, and there, the music that was playing in the background, there was like God Bless America, the Hokey Pokey,
I think
the
they
chicken
played
dance.
some Christmas music.
Some Christmas music.
But then, yeah, the chicken dance, the bunny hop.
There was this tiny old man setting up his stand, because you can come in as a vendor and rearrange your stuff whenever you want, and you just pay a monthly fee to have it there. It's like an ongoing yard sale.
Mm-hmm.
But he's over there, he must have thought we were out of our minds.
I don't know if he even noticed us.
I'm
to be
holding
honest.
up colors. I'm like, does this look good with this? What do you think about it?
He was facing the wall the whole time,
Probably
so
didn't
he couldn't
know
even
we were
hear
there.
us.
We really cleaned it out.
Yeah.
Aside from the art yarn.
We'll show you what we got in our next segment.
Yes. Our next segment is Oops, I Did It Again. This is our take on the Stash Enhancements section. So we have a little bit of a music theme going with the Knitorious and the Oops, I Did It Again.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you can talk about what we bought at the yarn store.
Yeah.
It's like an Easter basket of yummy.
Oh my goodness.
I love it all. So the majority, that one section we saw that was really, really good stuff is actually what I knit my Rose City rollers out of. It is Claudia hand-painted yarns, and it's hand-dyed in Virginia. This one is Superwash. Sorry.
And actually these are all the same, because we got like all of the same skeins.
Oh, it's 100% wool. This one is called Mushroom Hunting, and I got it
I like
to
that
just
name.
go as a heels and toes. This is the next set I got. This one Kari doesn't like.
Yes, I do. She said, does this look like grass? I said, do you want it to look like grass? So I could know how to phrase my answer. And I said, no, it doesn't really. But she does want it to look like grass.
I do want it to look like grass. So there's gonna be my sky and grass socks.
I think it looks like sky and grass.
And then this is another set.
Love this blue. Yellow.
Blue and yellow are kind of my thing.
Yellow is her thing. She was wearing bright yellow pants, and she was like, should I get this yellow? And I was like, well, yellow's kind of your thing. And she was like,
no, it's not.
She forgot she was wearing bright yellow pants. And I was like, I mean, look at you.
I mean, look at you. And then this was kind of an impulse buy. I have not heard of the brand. It's 100% wool. And I like those colors together, so I got that. Keep going. Sorry for the crunching. I know that's a thing. This came all together as just a set of 6. It's Bamboo Nirvana is the brand. Made in Turkey. But when you bought all of that yarn, I'm just going to grab mine.
I'm glad you have yours, because I didn't
You get a
bring
free
mine.
pattern.
Free! We like free!
So I'm going to use my this bamboo yarn to make this contravene. Is that how you would say that?
Sure.
Contravene pattern. I also picked up the Chiagus. I got a 9-inch circular, which is going to be a comedy of errors. Because
oh yeah, the little
the
one.
tiny ones with my giant Hulk hands.
We saw Tracy and Jody talk about them, and probably a lot of other people.
A lot of people are trying them. Some people are loving them. Some people are hating them. So I thought
they
were basically free.
I didn't try
basically
them
free.
I don't think I will like it.
And I also got my Chiagu bamboo that I, saved my
That's
Hermione
snapping
socks.
A little bit already.
That are peeling a little bit.
But that's another story.
So that was my old Sledworks. Oops, I did it again.
Mine, sorry again for the crinkly. I got these two skeins that it's not really coming out very well, actually. Oh, there we go. That's kind of better. It's this beautiful dark plum color.
What's the colorway? It's on the back. Aubergine. Do you know what an aubergine is?
No.
It's an eggplant.
Eggplant.
That was on someone else's podcast. They didn't know what an aubergine was.
And I got the same one that Kelly has. And I'm going to do heel toe sock. And then I got another set to do a pair of socks.
These are so...
As I throw my needles on the floor.
These are so
this
pretty.
Color, so pretty.
These
That's picking up really well. My nails aren't done. Don't judge.
These colors would be perfect
gray.
for Hermione's everyday socks.
So, yeah. Heel toe, regular sock. And I also picked up, which I dropped on the floor, just some double points. Forgot what they were called for a second. How do you say this?
Chiagu?
Chagu?
And those are like
size 5, and these
shall
are,
not be named.
Who knows what they
Who
are?
knows
They're
what
just in clear
they are.
plastic. They're probably from China.
But yeah, like we said, I left spending a fraction of what I thought I was going to spend.
And I do want to show something else.
You do?
If I may.
You may, because I have other things to show too.
You may have seen these on Instagram, but my lovely mother, hi Mom,
Hi, Kari's mom.
sent me.
The camera's over
The
here.
camera's over here.
Look at those little sheepies.
They're little sheepy stitch markers. And I love them. I kept them in the package because I haven't used them yet. And
They're so cute.
So, thanks, Mom.
Do you use stitch markers when you knit your socks?
No.
This is so
Well,
lazy.
it depends, I guess.
I let the string that hangs down from the cast on act as my stitch marker.
I think everyone does that, right? Am I right? I do that.
No, I think people like to use stitch markers because they call it yarn jewelry. I need to get into that because I have some really cute stitch markers.
I'm just lazy about it, I think.
I know. Normally I'm knitting by the TV and I'm like, oh, I have to get up. I don't want to get up for a stitch marker. And I'm like, oh, look at this dangly yarn piece. I have another stash enhancement, which it's not even an oops, I did it again. It's an oops, my husband did it again. I am lucky. I'm a lucky lady. My husband is an audio engineer for a living. He works with bands. He has one of the coolest jobs.
Like, he gets to travel all over the place, and he gets to talk to famous people.
He's not really working with famous people yet. That's completely a lie.
That is not a lie.
He gets to travel, and recently he was at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas for a week and a half. And he was sending me all these pictures. The weather was beautiful. But Chris was in Austin, Texas, and he and I constantly talk. He's like, every time I travel, I feel bad, and I want to come home with something for you. And ever since I've been knitting, I mean, it's the easiest thing. I'm like, Google search yarn stores near me. Hello. Why wouldn't you? So he did that, and whoo! I couldn't believe it. I opened this package. When he got home, I was like, thanks, good to see you, love you, I have to FaceTime Kari. Because
she FaceTimed me and I was like, I hate you. Goodbye.
And I immediately texted with like, sorry for the yarn brag, but nobody else understands my life. So he went to the Hill Country Weavers, located near Austin, Texas. And he did tell the ladies that we would mention them on the podcast. So I wanted to make sure that...
Are they going to watch?
I mean, I hope so. That would be cool to have viewers from Austin, Texas. So, I have to... The first thing that I saw, which this would have been enough in itself, the fact that he thought of me and went to a yarn store was enough.
It's a swift.
It's an umbrella swift. So normally
what kind of swift is there?
Normally, he acts as my swift, and he stands there with his hands apart, and he does this, like, flip thing. But then when he goes out of town, like, I've tried the yarn over the chair, I've tried the yarn over my feet.
And my knees.
I am not coordinated enough to do it, and I then basically just have to wait for him to get home. I'm completely, like, incapable. So, he bought me this because he does have a lot more traveling coming up, and he wants me to be able to continue.
Have you used it yet?
I have used it. You know what we could do? Insert a video here. So that was the first thing sticking out of the bag, and I was like, that would have been enough. But no, these ladies at the yarn shop, they spotted a boy who wasn't sure what he was doing, and they got him. And they got me good. So.
Aww. That's cute.
It's a Madeline Tosh unicorn tail.
What colorway is this?
It is magnolia leaf, which is so perfect because
cute.
magnolias are like a tree of the south.
The camera's right there.
Oh. So I have that Madeline Tosh unicorn tail. But wait, KT always says this. But wait, there's more. I want to hold it like a little yarn baby. That's right. It's hedgehog fiber sock yarn. And I already know what I'm going to do with this. I saw a pattern on Jody and Tracy's. It was like a drop stitch shawl. This is going to be the drop stitch shawl, so I have to go back and watch them and
do you think it's
figure
enough?
out the pattern. I think it is enough. It's 100 grams of 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon. So that was an incredible coming home gift from my husband. So that was my other, oops, he did it again. And I have one more. So I recently did a swap with Allie from the Get Lit and Knit podcast. Hey, Allie!
Hi, Allie!
And we are possibly doing a swap with Allie and Abby, podcast to podcast. But while I was out shopping for little trinkets for her swap, I came across these. Okay, first of all, you're probably like, girl, those are some big old plastic needles. But wait, there's a little switch.
What in the world? What? I'm really confused.
They're light up knitting needles.
Why? How?
They're
Where?
called the Knit Light.
Oh my gosh. You're gonna knit with those?
No, I'm not gonna knit with them. I had to have them. I didn't say
Where'd you get those?
At Brant's Mercantile, which is like a little vintage thrift store near us.
That is a weird
I was so excited. I'm never going to use them, but I love a good kitsch. And that is kitsch at its finest.
This one doesn't work, so that's thrift.
Okay, they run on watch batteries. Who sells watch batteries these days?
You can knit in the dark.
You could knit in the dark.
This is how I knit.
You could knit in the closet. You could knit in the car at night. But, yeah. So that was my other stash enhancement.
I thought it was going to, like, open up and you could put something in it.
No, it lights up. It's basically a magic wand of knitting. Another new segment.
It's where we acknowledge podcasts that we're watching and that we really like. And it's called the Pod Nod. Like, you know how at the Grammys, when you get a nod? Like, a Grammy
I didn't even
nod?
think of that. You have to
When
tell them how
people
you
are
really
getting
came up with
nominated.
this. Carrie and I were driving, and we said, you know, we really want to talk about other podcasts, because without other people talking about us, we never would have gotten to 500 subscribers. We never would have even had Beyond Our Moms watching.
And it's fun to be able to actually talk to these people that we watch, because it's kind of like your face-to-face.
It's like a
so
little
to
community.
be able to talk back is so fun. So we kept thinking of, like, rhyming things. and alliterations, and we were thinking of podcast and pod, and we were like, what rhymes with pod?
And so Kari went through the entire alphabet in the car on the way home, and we got to pod nod.
So we're going to give
that
some
was good
nods.
timing. We just did that at the same exact time. So pod nods, you can go first.
Wait, what? So, my pod nod this week is Shannon from Socksetra. I just started watching her this past week, and I love you, Shannon. You're so fun to watch. She's so real and down to earth, and I love how she's just not afraid to address different issues, and she's awesome. She likes socks, obviously. She posted on her Instagram today that she's knitting socks 2 at a time on Magic Loop, which I know a lot of you do.
Teach yourself.
So that might have to be another teach yourself for me, because that seems really neat. But Shannon, you're awesome. Socksetra, if you haven't checked her out, which you probably all have, because I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you? Go check her out, because she's awesome.
And my pod nod is to the Brooklyn Knit Folk podcast. Jacqueline Salem is the podcaster in charge of That Little Love, and she is a newish knitter, which I can totally relate with, but she really dove right in. She's knitting, she knit a whole sweater already. She's kind of working backwards to forward. She's just starting to get into socks, and she's hosting the Fine and Dandy Cal, which I know everybody and their sister is knitting on.
Yeah.
But Jacqueline is a graphic designer, so I really love her aesthetic and the thought she puts into her projects. And she lives in Brooklyn, obviously, which is where my sister-in-law just moved. So now I'm kind of thinking, well, I have to make a trip to Brooklyn, and maybe I could meet Jacqueline Salem. But her podcast is just really fun, and she keeps her episodes quick, which I really like. But she shows a ton of great content. And she just released a short episode that's similar to our yarn venture, where she's showing yarn stores near where she lives.
Cool.
So, hey, Jacqueline! All right, last segment. It's coming to an end, people. But this is also a New Year's segment. As teachers, we are very familiar with book bags. I trip over them, I pick them up, I put them away, they come back out again. Even though I work with middle schoolers, their book bags are everywhere. And it's really a safety hazard sometimes. Occupational hazard. But I'm going to get our book. So what the book bag segment will be is us just either introducing you to what we're reading or a book that we found, and we're trying to kind of keep it knitting related for now.
We both really like reading a lot, so combining reading and knitting, and there's so many things, like so many writers who write about knitting that I kind of just discovered it recently.
Yeah.
But it's so
and
fun
I'm a
to read
library
about
nerd. I love a good library. A lot of times when I travel, I'll just go in and visit the local library because I love the architecture in libraries and just seeing the selection. And I recently went to one of our local libraries after kind of a rough day. I just needed a reset. I went in and I was like, oh, I'll just see what they have for knitting books. And I hit the knitting book jackpot, and it totally changed my whole mood for the day. And I came across...
I saw this one at Barnes & Noble, and then I went to my library, and they had it there!
Okay, so she had it first.
I had it first. She's a copycat.
But this book is Knitting Yarns, and it is edited by Anne Hood. And this book is a collection of short stories describing the way people got started knitting, a special time in their life where they knit.
It's basically a story of how people started knitting and why they knit, which I love hearing stories of why people started knitting, and this book is full of little short stories of people's experience with knitting. So it's awesome to look into people's lives and see why they started knitting and their experience with it. It's awesome.
And this was, so we each picked out a quote. Kari actually texted me this quote when she first read the book. Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Okay. It says, I made this for you. I thought of you while I made it. I guess I kind of love you.
Which is so true, because as knitters, I think sometimes people who aren't knitters don't always see the value in something that's handmade.
They're not knit-worthy.
A lot of people do see it, but it's so true. Like, you pick something out, you make it for that person, and you think of them while you're making it. It's so much more special than just picking something off the shelf, because it takes so much time.
It does take a lot of time. I loved that quote, too. I also picked one From another chapter, it said, whenever I felt uncomfortable, I picked up those needles and things calmed down. And I think for me, a lot of times I do knit from like a therapeutic place. My job can be very stressful sometimes, and I need to make a lot of decisions in a day. So when I come home and knit, it's kind of my way to just like let it all go. And it's funny, like Chris will say sometimes that I'm like knitting away, but normally I knit like that for the first 5 minutes, and then by the end I've kind of calmed down.
Like this close to your
Yeah,
face.
I do knit really close to my face.
Really
I have
close.
really bad vision and I have really tight muscles, so I knit this close and then eventually I'm like, whew.
Relax the arms.
Relax the arms, relax the mind. So those are 2 quotes from this awesome book, Knitting Yarns. And that's our first book bag segment. And that is actually the end of episode 2. But there's more. There is. We have reached over 500 subscribers, people.
Over 500.
In our second episode.
How is that
we never,
happening?
Like, when everyone always says, oh, I never thought this happened. Like, I can't.
We did
It
not
went above
anticipate
20,
this.
and I was like, okay, these are people I work with. Then it went above 100, and then Tracy and Jody mentioned us, and it just skyrocketed. So, it's time for a giveaway.
A giveaway!
We will be opening a thread on our Ravelry group, and what we'll ask a question in there that we'd like you to answer, and we would also like you to be subscribed to the YouTube page. So we will check the winner and make sure that they're subscribed, and we'll do the random number that everyone does.
Yep.
And the prizes will be a project bag made by myself, which I started today and sewed one of the sides on upside down, so I have to take it apart. But it'll be a
so
project.
cute.
It's really
the
cute.
fabric, oh my gosh. I would like it for myself.
Well, you can't have it unless you subscribe, but you're ineligible to win. So it'll be a project bag made by myself, and I'm going to throw in a couple stitch markers.
Sweet.
And then you are working on maybe a little special something.
I might work on a little special something, and a friend of mine is going to do a pretty little watercolor art for us with a knitting quote, and she's awesome. I'll tell you about her shop next week.
Yes.
And
so
it'll be
stay tuned.
sweet.
Subscribe. Head over to our Ravelry page. There will be a post up there for the 500 subscriber giveaway. Answer the question. Subscribe to the YouTube. And next episode, we will announce the winner.
Yay!
Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Come back soon.
See you next time.
Bye.